How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Wow, great to meet you. We are honored to have you in our podcast today.
Thank you.
How is everything over there?
Oh, it's going well. It's a little rainy in my neck of the woods, but it's not bad. I'm used to it.
Yeah. We're happy to have you. Hello, viewers. Our guest today is Dan Cox. He's the CEO and managing advisor at EXO. Dan, you're welcome, and we're glad to have you in our podcast today.
Thank you.
Today, we're going to talk about Dan is a leader that is a licensed professional counselor for 15 years, serving family, individual, and couple who were experiencing some life's most challenging issues. And he transitioned to executive coaching in 2005, bringing the expertise and the experiences he had from families to the workforce. And again, Dan is a masterful coach, facilitator, combining compassion and candor in his approach. And he has done a great job in building EXO. Today, we're going to look at his journey, the challenges he had, and how he got there. But above all, there's one thing that really, really impressed me when I checked Dan up. He has developed.
Assessment?
Yes, that's what I was trying
Yeah.
to understand.
Yeah.
Somehow I got it mixed up in my head. That leadership assessment test that helps you find out the type of leader you are, is and so many things. So we're also going to look into that, and he's going to share more on how he come about that. Dan, we're happy to have you today in our podcast.
Thank
So
you.
before we dive in, this is how the podcast is going to go. We're going to talk about. First of all, we'll start with your background and industry trends you're seeing. Then we'll discuss your current challenges and the vision of where you want EXO to be in the next 12 months. And we'll finally wrap up by exploring if there's any necessary step to take to get you to where you want to be. How does that sound, Dan? Is that a good use of our time?
Sure. Sure.
And again, let me say it again. It's not an interview. It's a discussion. It's a conversation where you share your real life experiences. And feel free to add more. Feel free to add more to whatever, if you think something is being left behind or there's something you really want to share with us, please feel free to share that with us, okay?
Okay.
So let's dive in. Dan, can you share briefly about your professional background and your role and how it fits into the EXO, the bigger picture of EXO?
You betcha. Yeah, I started early in my career working with junior hires, believe it or not. I had a large group of about 122 kids and about 20 volunteer staff that we worked together to help build those young kids in their lives and prepare them for high school and college. As I got into choosing my career, I was really torn. I actually, at one point, wanted to be a pilot and also wanted to be able to build houses. And what's really interesting is that my life took a turn toward working with people pretty much all the time. Everything I've done has been working with people and building them up. And my avocation has turned out to become being a pilot and also building houses. So it has not become my vocation, but it's become something I've done in my avocation, which is kind of interesting. But have just spent my whole life working with people. I think that probably one of the main things that I think I bring to the world is just a very keen understanding of human dynamics. And I learned that through about 15 years of being a licensed professional counselor, working with every life situation, every family situation, every trauma situation you can imagine. And as I've worked through those things with people, I think I was learning along the way about really how to interact with different human dynamics. There was a point in time as I got further into my counseling career that I found myself uh, kind of, don't take this literal, but I was I was looking out the window and I wasn't doing it for real. I think that would be a pretty bad thing to do as a counselor. It indicates to people you're not interested. I wasn't doing that. But in my heart of hearts, I think I was looking out the window and wondering what would it be like if I could be out of this chair and go and live and be with where people are for the majority of their lives, and that is at work. And so I found myself just agitated inside, wishing that I could be out of my chair. I went, finally started some coach training at that point. Immediately after that, closed one of my first projects in a manufacturing company. And I was there for about 2.5 years doing our work. And it was exactly what I'd hoped for. Every time I would go into that company, I got to be with people that were devoting their lives to work every single day. And I was helping those people learn how to help people the way I had learned. I actually had a quick start coach training at that time, and we trained over 70 supervisors and leaders in that company on just the basics of coaching. And it was a really powerful program. We started coaching circles in that company and began solving problems left and right. And that company was about a $20 million company at the time. They're now approaching 100 million, which is really, really exciting. As I began to build my company, I realized that one of the hardest things to do in my journey is selling new contracts. When you're a counselor, people come to you. You just open your doors and have a phone number, and people call because people call counselors all the time.
Yeah.
So that was different. When I became an executive coach and started looking for companies to serve, I had to go to them and almost kind of sell myself or sell my process. So ever since that time, I've been in a very slow journey of just building, building what we have. Our company is now called EXOS Advisors, and we have now about 4 or 5 different advisors. I have an assistant that helps me out quite a bit, and we have different wings of things that people do in our company that really, really help the companies we serve. We can talk a little later about the Core Values Index, which is the name of the tool that we use, and I'll tell you a little bit more about how that came about. But for the most part, we're now serving over 15 companies right now, and we are making quite a difference in terms of not only the monetary side of those companies, but also the people side.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. That's very great. And
Yeah.
again, can you share a little bit what a typical day will look like for you?
Well, I'm in several meetings. Sometimes I have to travel. That's one of the blessings with my airplane. I can actually travel long distances and be there in a short time,
Oh, good.
which is kind of fun. I get to do that for part of what I get to do in my business. But yeah, I have to travel once in a while and go and spend time and be inside companies and do that work. But I also do some work online, like we are right now. And my typical day might consist of some phone calls, meeting with my team, maybe meeting with a client online, getting in my car. And by the way, I've got a new car. Some people might not like hearing this, but I actually have a Tesla.
Awesome.
And what the Tesla does now is that I can actually push a button and it will self-drive me to my client. So
Awesome.
so it's kind of fun. I can do a little work and phone calls while I'm driving, which is fun.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my day. And come home, have dinner, sit in the hot tub, spend time with my wife, spend time with my family. I really do enjoy what I get to do in this phase of my life.
Oh, that's good for you. That's good. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's awesome. So, what major shift are you seeing in your industry right now?
What now?
The major shift you're seeing in your industry right now. Shift.
The shift that I'm seeing. Well, I do a lot of work in construction, and right now, a lot of my companies are struggling because interest rates still remain somewhat high, and so people are not buying what they need to buy until they feel the interest rates going down. So there's been a shift, kind of a downsizing in some of my construction companies. And then the companies that I have that are more connected to municipals and to larger commercial projects, those companies are thriving right now. They're doing really well. Um, so that's one of the shifts I see is some downsizing because of where we are right now. But they're poised and they're in a good spot where when things start to come back, they'll be able to rebuild and be just fine. Um, what are some other shifts that I see? I I think that there's a better focus on people. I think that in times past it was on production, and what's kind of interesting right now with AI is that AI seems to be increasing our speed at production with certain things, which is having an interesting impact on the what we call the industrial revolution, where everything was about efficiency, about growing your ability to get production out more efficiently and more volume and those kinds of things. But what AI seems to be doing is kind of coming and challenging that entire era of productivity, and it's completely blowing the socks off of productivity. So I think there's a shift, a big shift right now in our industry of getting used to AI. A lot of my companies are beginning to use it in different facets of their work, but it's probably a matter of time where they begin to realize that they can downsize and still get the same amount of productivity going. Um, I I really don't have enough expertise to be able to describe what's going to happen with AI. Some people say that uh, it's going to take jobs away. I'd like to believe it's going to increase jobs as we increase our productivity.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I believe again somehow you've answered my next question. Is by my next question would have been how has AI impacted your business and strategy? But can you throw more light? Is there any more things you want to say there?
Yeah, I would say almost all of my companies are dabbling in AI, and there's so much technology that's out there, that we don't even know where to start. It's happening so quickly.
Yeah.
So it feels as though my companies, at least the ones I'm working with, are kind of on the brink of discovering AI and are using it for different things. I'm using it in some of my work,
Okay.
and it's really been helpful, extremely helpful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's a long ways to go. One of the things that I'm really probably partly nervous about is the fact that we can actually set up AI avatars, or what we call twins. So my voice, my face can be presented to the world, and whatever script I give it, it can speak it, and sometimes speak it better than I can speak it. you know so yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there that we have yet to touch, but it's coming.
Yeah.
It's
But
coming
have
fast.
you? Yeah. Have you? Let me even ask you, what are the AI tools you've used lately, if any?
Yeah, I use ChatGPT mostly, and I will prompt it with certain questions. I'll use it a lot for creating job descriptions that I'm working on with companies. We have something called a roadmap. It's a strategic roadmap that we developed over the years that has an Excel sheet that's made out of macros. We actually developed the macros for it, and there's several little aspects of that roadmap that we can use AI to help us develop, and that's become very useful, very helpful in our process.
Wow. Okay. Awesome.
So yeah,
Yeah, you're one of the few that is not really leery about AI, kind of open minded about it, which is good. Okay.
yeah,
We'll
yeah.
see. That's a good news. So what's working well for you right now, and what has been frustrating?
What is our strength?
What
Is that
is
what you're hearing?
working well for you right now, and what has been frustrating?
What's working well? What's been frustrating?
Yeah. Hmm.
Well, we have been working. Well, I'll start with the frustrating part. We've been working for quite a few years on our marketing. Um, my team and myself were very good at just going out and wrestling down sales and
Hmm.
talking to people
Hmm.
and converting and getting people to buy what we do.
Hmm.
It's been a pure sales effort. It's just meeting people and getting out there and doing it. What we've been working on over the last year has been more of a marketing approach that gets our name out to the nation
Hmm.
and allows people to, in their own space, begin to explore us and
Hmm.
explore what we do, look at our website. And just recently, even just within the last month, we've had, I think we've had like three or four companies, fairly good sized companies, reach out to us and want to talk to us about what we do.
Hmm.
The two big topics that seem to be really, really strong in the world where we're reaching out
Hmm.
seems to be succession planning. And then the connection to the succession planning is the family aspect. Probably 70% of our companies that we work with, there's a family component.
Yeah.
And when you mix that with succession planning, there's some very interesting dynamics that are happening
Yeah.
with the family. I think probably one of I'm getting away from your question just a little
No, go
bit
ahead.
here, but I would just say that's been the coolest thing, the
Yeah.
frustration of getting our marketing program going and now beginning to see the fruition of it. People are actually reaching us
Hmm.
and we're reaching back and we're setting up meetings and talking.
Hmm.
And that's good. The other thing that has really, really worked well for our company is the use of what we call key alliances.
Hmm.
And these are people that I've been connected to for years. They don't do what I do, but what they do requires what we do, if that
Okay.
makes sense,
Hmm.
right? So when we find those people that begin to understand what we get to do in companies, really, I'd say probably the biggest thing is that we help companies grow
Okay.
and we help them work through the chaos that seems to be there that stops their ability to grow. And one of the areas I have a new key alliance who I absolutely adore. I think he's just a wonderful man. He actually works around the nation putting together ESOPs,
Okay.
which are employee stock ownership programs, and those are fully employed employee owned companies.
Hmm.
And there's a whole lot behind the ESOP. I'm not going to get into that right now. But one of the requirements of being an ESOP is that you have to be constantly growing,
Yeah.
not exponentially weird, way out there, but there has to be some measured, steady, predictable growth that's
Hmm.
going on in that company
Hmm.
in order to justify having an ESOP.
Okay.
And so we're connected, and he's a wonderful key alliance because he recognizes that the companies he's reaching out, they need to have a program of growth,
Hmm.
and that's exactly what Exos Advisors does. So that's been going really well. The key alliance process, the marketing process have all started to really, really take hold. We're expecting a much higher year this year with some of our work.
Yeah. You. I think we are talking about something about succession, and somehow you got off it. Are you done talking about that, or is this something which?
Well, yeah, succession planning seems to be a pretty hot topic right now.
Hmm,
Um, I think somewhat the companies that are really looking at that are getting to realize that they have a group of people that help grow their company, but those people are maybe close to leaving and going into retirement.
yeah.
And what what they needed to be doing was starting their succession planning early on and really starting to develop people behind some of the people that did that initial development.
Yeah.
So a lot of our companies are reaching out and saying, "Oh my gosh, we need to really, really pay attention to this, and we need to start building our people to these positions that they can maintain the growth that we've produced over the last 10 to 20 years." Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So succession planning is huge, and then when you put the family component on top of that,
Hmm.
the biggest challenge there is that people will give family members jobs that they're not wired for, and that is disastrous.
Yeah.
It's disastrous because what you're essentially doing is you're placing an expectation on a family member to do a job that they're not wired to do. They're getting that job because they're a family member.
Yeah.
And there's no quicker way to destroy a business or even to destroy a human being than to give them a job that they're not wired for.
Yeah.
I like to think of it in these terms that this is happening in company after company that we serve. And that is that our bosses, our leaders, people that are doing the hiring,
Hmm.
they're actually sentencing people to a life of purgatory on earth
Oh my God.
by offering them a job that they spend 8 to 10 hours a day doing that they're not wired to do, nor are they engaged in it.
Wow. Wow.
And that's one of the main things that we're able to accomplish through the Core Values Index
Oh.
is to cause people to have work that is a natural expression of their nature.
Oh. Awesome. Awesome. So again, how do you currently measure success at EXO Advisor?
Um, Everybody measures success based on whether or not you're growing money wise. We've been growing year over year at Exos Advisors. That's great. But our real success is really in what happens with our clients. Here's the way I would measure our success. When I started Exos Advisors in 2015,
Mm.
I assumed that we as consultants would be invited into companies, and after about a year's time, companies would then send us away.
Mm.
They'd had enough of us.
Yeah.
That's a true thing for consultants. I like to joke around a little bit and say that consultants are like beautiful geese.
Mm.
Have you ever seen a flock of geese that are
Yeah.
flying in a perfect V?
Hmm.
And when they land on somebody's front yard, it's the most majestic thing that you'd want to ever see, just to
Hmm.
see these big flock of birds come and land and walk around.
Hmm.
But when they go to take off, there's shit everywhere.
Oh my God.
And
Oh.
that's one of the reputations that consultants have.
Mm.
So I think I was going into this work almost kind of believing that reputation, you know.
Mm.
But what's happening today with Exos Advisors, our companies are actually keeping us year over year,
Yeah.
and it's surprising, but it's not surprising. There's a level of accountability and movement and growth that gets to happen when an outside advisor who, people have to like you a little bit.
Hmm.
It's not like, you know, you go into a company, you got to be able to like people
Yeah.
and they want you to be around.
Yeah.
But what they experience, the value that they experience is that they are growing year over year
Mm.
because they are following their roadmap.
Okay.
And what an Exos advisor does is helps them stay attuned to that roadmap on a monthly basis.
Okay. Okay.
And we're working through, 30 and 40 different initiatives year over year
Okay.
that is causing that company to grow like you wouldn't believe. So I would just say that our success is probably measured by whether or not we get to stay in companies a little longer than just a year.
Okay, that's good. Okay, which metrics are you focused that you most focus on improving in your services, in your businesses?
Um, um, I would say the number one metric in our businesses, and I would say it even in my business, is gross margin.
Okay.
Um, a lot of people look at gross revenue, which is the top line growth, and they say, "Hey, wow, we made $1 million last year, and we're on pace now for 1.5 million." Well, that's great, but if it costs you $1 million to make the $1 million, that's not good,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
So when you look at gross margin, what you're looking at is the fact that you're making your money, but you're doing it efficiently
Yeah.
and with right people, and and that kind of thing. So gross margin is really probably our number one KPI in all of our businesses, is watching that month after month. I like to see companies making decisions on gross margin. There's efficiency decisions that need to be made. There's price increasing sometimes that has to happen. People are afraid to increase their prices. They feel they'll lose business. Um, there are, there's about 3 or 4 really specific things that we have to look at to make gross margin work better.
Okay.
So,
Okay, that's good.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The next question I'm going to ask you is, where do you want Exo Advisor to be in the next 6-12 months?
Oh, that's a great question. I uh, I actually just did an exercise. I placed myself at the end of 2026, and I wrote a story on what happened.
Oh, okay. Looking back.
And yeah, I looked back and I wrote a story of what happened. And if I'm able to follow that story that I wrote, standing at the end of 2026, then there will be a couple things. I'll have 2 or 3 more advisors that are beginning to fill up with new work.
Okay.
Okay. I'm beginning to make a bit of a transition out of the daily work of the Exos advisor work and into more management of my advisors. So I plan to try to do that more at the end of this year. Um, I would say, more steady profitability is going to be a big piece of what we're doing. We've been able to put some things in place that will maintain that profitability.
Yeah.
For me personally, I have to maintain my health.
Okay.
I'm 62 years old, and it's coming to a point where I have to question: am I going to want to be doing what I'm doing now when I'm 70? Right. So part of what I have to do is I have to do my own succession planning.
Yeah.
I have to kind of live what I preach a little bit. And the hardest thing to do for a founder, for a CEO, is to begin to believe that other people can do what you do better than you do it. It's really hard to just hand that over. And I've already begun that process. I have an advisor now. His name's Jason. And I did that work last year very deliberately. I started handing things to him left and right. And I can tell you, it was the best thing that I've ever done. He is incredibly capable. I can give him anything that we do at Exos Advisors, and he can do it.
Awesome.
And I'd like to see 2 more this year, beginning, that I can say I can do the same thing with. So that's my goal for this year, is to build my advisors.
Okay, awesome. Are there any specific KPIs you're tracking? Is it getting more of Jason's running up and running and all that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Let me just add another question. If you had a magic wand to fix just one thing in the Exos advisor that is holding you back or slowing you down, what would that one thing be?
It it it's our sales. We're selling things. I just don't think we're selling things fast enough. So I have an advisor over on the East Coast, and one of the things that we're trying to figure out is how can we get this advisor up and going so far away from where I live on the West Coast. and he's got people that he wants me to meet, and we have some direction.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that's our greatest challenge is you know breaking our way in to a group of decision makers and causing them to want us to be on their team and help their companies.
So you mean what you want to do is have more visibility, close more sales? Is that what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do need more visibility. We've got some webinars that we're going to be producing on a monthly basis this year. That's another big push that is new for us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we actually did last year. We got a lot of our business through a campaign that we did. We did what's called Business and Bourbon Lunch and Learns,
Okay.
and we had companies come and enjoy some good bourbon and
Yeah.
enjoy a presentation, and those really turned out well. So we're probably going to do a few more of those this year as well. And but our webinar is really the biggest push. We're going to try to see if we can't meet some people and greet and talk to them as a result of having our webinars.
Okay. So what you're trying to say in essence is that in order for you guys your plan for more sales and closing more deals is to zero in on more webinars and meeting companies. Okay. All right.
Yeah, and to have a greater volume of that.
Okay. Okay. Volume.
But the contingency plan is that I know that I can't serve
Mm-hmm.
a whole influx of new companies. So, but what I can do is I can build a group of advisors
Yeah.
whereby I can train them to serve those companies. And so that's my plan. By the time I'm ready to, I'm not going to even call it retirement yet. I'm not sure what's going to happen in retirement, but by the time I'm ready to kind of ride off in the sunset,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have at least 5 to 6, maybe 7 advisors that are working their way toward a full load of companies. That's probably 7 to 8 companies that each advisor is serving.
Yeah.
And as soon as we have that going and that's happening, I think that I should be free to be able to back away a little bit.
Okay. That's awesome. Thank you very much, Dan. Thank you for your insights. It's very great, and really like the way you shared your experience. I'm not sure if you really uh, shed more light on the core value index, though you mentioned it a
No.
little bit. But if can we, 1 minute to just can we share
Yeah,
more?
I'll try to keep it very short.
Yeah. Mhm.
I believe the Core Values Index is one of the most powerful assessments that exists in the world.
Mhm.
We actually have what's called a 97% repeat score reliability.
Mhm.
That means that we are measuring something in the human being that seems not to change.
Okay.
Okay. So that's really important because most assessments will measure personality and behavior.
Mhm.
The CVI is not a personality test. It's really an ontological assessment. It's measuring our human energy,
Okay.
and we believe that that energy has been in us since the time we were born.
Yeah.
But we can't prove that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where validity and everything kind of has a lot of challenges in the assessment world.
Yeah.
But it seems that we are measuring something in human beings that really tells us the story of their nature. And then the second piece is that we actually have a science. It's called the Top Performer Profile Science. It allows us to set up a job profile and to do the actual pre-screening before a candidate can come in and get that job. So, in other words, we design the profile, and then every single candidate takes the core values index, and that result is immediately, instantaneously piped through that profile, and it will tell us whether or not this person is a high recommend, low recommend, or not recommend. And so we actually have right now, I think we're at 92%. We have a 92% success rate of giving our companies people that are wired for the work and are attached and engaged in that work to where we would call them A or B level performers.
Wow. Awesome. Yeah.
Now, that's one last thing I'll share with you, and that is that if a company undertakes the goal of putting A and B performers in position,
Mm,
the ROI on that is it's untold.
mm,
It means that if you had 100 people that were all A and B level performers,
mm-hmm.
the productive output for that company would be exponential.
Yeah.
If you if you have a group of people that let's say you don't need that additional growth, you don't need to have 100 people to get that same amount of growth. You might need about 60.
Yeah.
So the ROI for what we do is huge for one of the most expensive parts of any profit and loss of any company, and that is the human beings that you hire.
Mm,
And it's not just mercenaries, not just money. The other thing that companies get to do is they get to deliberately give people work that is a natural expression of their nature.
yeah.
So we're changing people's lives. And I like to say we are changing dinner conversations
Yeah.
because people are enjoying their work and they enjoy coming to work because they are making their contribution
Yeah.
uh, based on who they are.
Awesome. Awesome. That's very good, Dan. And I'm really happy to have you share your insight on in your journey so far. And it's very eye opening and very
Good.
valuable. One last thing. Have you ever thought of selling this your core value index to other companies? Because
We do.
you do. Okay, awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very great. Because
Yeah, we actually
I
have a
see
whole
value
platform,
there.
and our companies they buy core values indexes for all of their employees, and
Okay.
we use that for training,
Okay.
for coaching,
Hmm.
leadership development. There's all kinds of reasons why companies should have the core values index.
Okay. So thank you, Dan. Thank you for sharing your insight, and we really appreciate that. Thank you once again. It's been very great having you in our podcast. And we'll say thank you and
Yeah.
have a nice day.
Okay. Thank you, Phoebe.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
and bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.